If you can do so, could you tell us about some of your recent discussions, conversations, briefings that you've had with political leaders from the states in question that have asked you what you think? First of all, what did they specifically ask you, if you can tell us, and how did they respond to your answers?
Yes, Colonel Gregor, I had an hour conference call yesterday with the representatives and senators from the Carolinas, and we presented the data to them to answer their questions about how this manipulation occurs. They realized this was not a natural event. They were trying to digest the fact that their states were literally under assault from weather modification operations that are clearly connected with DoD operations, and we can speculate again on the agendas and objectives being carried out, but the fact that the storm was manipulated is absolutely inarguable. We know that technology to stop these rotations from even occurring has existed for decades with the manipulation of atmospheric pressure zones. HAARP in Alaska is one example many people are familiar with. That's an ionosphere heater. That's a weapon of mass destruction, period. It can cause an electrical chain reaction in the ionosphere, which heats it to extraordinarily high temperatures, which causes the atmosphere to bulge up and down. The downward push creates a high pressure dome that can steer the jet stream. And the same type of manipulation can create low pressure zones. When they have this type of power over the climate system, they can make or break these storms anytime they want. And again, what we see now is storms kept weaker as they're over the ocean because they're harder to steer until they reach the land-based network of transmitters. And then we have, Colonel McGregor, rapid intensification. You've heard that term probably a lot lately, because that's how they manipulate these storms. And again, we have Acapulco last October being the extreme example of rapid intensification. An insignificant low pressure system developed into the strongest Cat 5 hurricane to ever hit that part of the world in less than 24 hours, laid waste to Acapulco. And by the way, Hurricane John, which just hit Acapulco again as Hurricane Helene was wreaking havoc in the Carolinas, not many people know that. So Acapulco just got dealt another blow. So again, how many agendas and objectives are being carried out when we know they can manipulate these storms and we know they can make or break them anytime they want? And again, I bring up the oil infrastructure in the Gulf of Mexico that seems to magically miss any sort of damaging storm again and again and again, while the storms wreak havoc inland and on shorelines. It's not a coincidence. They have that much sway over.
Now, let's be 100% clear. We'll go to our guest given the floor. We have the CIA director, 2015, 16, in speeches saying we can do this, we've been doing it, but we don't want to tell the public about it because of lawsuits. So it's going on. We have the leading expert, Dane Whittington, on with geoengineeringwatch.org right now. There's so many places to start, so many places to go here. So, Dane, I'm just going to give you the floor here to go where you think first. Dane, thanks for joining us.
Alex, good to be with you again, brother. Thank you for always staying the course in this fight on so many fronts. The American public and elected officials are beginning to wake up to the fact that the covert weather warfare assault has been waged for decades against them. In regards to Hurricane Milton and the method with which these storms have been manipulated, the spawning is a separate issue, the spawning of the storms. But what we can say definitively is they're steering these storms. And Milton took, we believe, an unexpected jog toward the southeast, toward the Yucatan Peninsula, where a massive transmitter in Cancun nudged it back on course. And we recorded those transmissions as well. It spun up to, we believe, earlier than they had scheduled it to. It spun up to the strong Cat 5 that we saw, again, making it much more difficult to manipulate. So it may have gone off course a bit from where it was scheduled to go. They're more difficult to control the stronger the storm is, especially over the ocean. Once it reaches land, we have the NexRad network that is more capable of steering these storms. And again, these are patented technologies. So whatever agendas and objectives, again, there may be about this storm, where it's scheduled to make landfall, we can speculate about, again, all those agendas and objectives. There's likely many. The screen you're showing right there, Hurricane Helene and the NexRad transmissions that have a repelling effect on the storm. That's, again, what happened in Cancun as the storm went southeast, and we believe that wasn't part of their original agenda, that it went off course a bit, and the transmitter in Cancun, very powerful transmitter, pushed it back. Again, we recorded those transmissions as well. So bottom line is these storms are being steered, period. If we go all the way back to 1947, Alex, I know you know this, many of your listeners do as well, but Project Cirrus, the U.S. military's initial onset of manipulating hurricanes, how far have they come since then? And again, for people to deny climate engineering at this point is absolutely ludicrous. And we know even Project Popeye in Vietnam in the 60s, historical record, U.S. military is so effective at controlling precipitation over that country that by the mid-70s, we have international treaties forbidding weather modification in wartime, not that anybody pays attention to those. So, Alex, this is nothing short of weather warfare, period.
And then we have